I used to cram my double HX Stomp board with pedals. That's extra expenses and extra weight on the board. Here's how I fixed it and got more tone with less clutter. Eight months ago, I built a HX Stomp and Stomp XL rig, and since then, I've gone through many iterations, some more minimalist, and others cramming every square inch with pedals. The idea was to offload DSP usage of the Stomps with pedals. After all, if I can get DSP heavy effects like pitch, delay, and reverb off the Stomps, they can be freed up for more amp and effect choices. But I've realized the problem wasn't with DSP limitations. The problem was inefficiency. We're here with HX Edit loaded up for both my Stomp and Stomp XL. I'm going to run you through the typical patch building scenario that was in my head when I first started building this board. When I first started building this board, the HX Stomp was going to be like the main amps Stomp, and then the Stomp XL was going to be just purely for effects, and at least that was in my head. But I was quite adamant on wanting to use a poly cable at the front of the chain, so the poly cable had to be on the amp's HX Stomp. The left side is HX Stomp and the right side is a Stomp XL. Let's see how DSP inefficient this setup is. Let's first load up the poly cable, and that's non-negotiable for me. And let's see what kind of amps I can load up with. For now, it looks fine. Let's do the AC30 and the Fender Pro Sonic-ish sort of sound. Let's go with the AC30, which is the AC30 Fawn, and let's go with a second amp. You can see that suddenly my amp choices are just cut down right to the bone, and if I go with something like, let's say, the Clarity just for fun, and I load that in, try and make it stereo, there's no DSP left for like a stereo cab setup. I had to change this up for something different. Let's say the Supro, and that would give me the DSP for a dual cab, which was allowed for stereo processing at the back end. But then I ran into a problem. I don't have enough DSP for an FX loop, which is integral to this kind of setup where I wanted the HX Stomp XL to be in the effects loop of the Stomp. So in the end, I have to do something like this, 2 Supros, and then this gives me the DSP to load up a dual cab. And then that will give me the DSP to load in a stereo FX loop. And I'll have not much else left. I can probably load in the compressor, even a simple EQ or something like that, and that's it. I don't have anything else. No delays, no reverbs, nothing. Now let's go to the Stomp XL side of things. My original intent was to make the Stomp XL just for effects, so I'm gonna load in, let's say, some overdrives, the Tima, the Minotaur, the Tima. Let's load in a tremolo. Why don't we? Let's go with a stereo chorus, like a 70s chorus or something. Delays, let's go stereo, and reverb, let's go stereo as well. And let's go with something big like the dynamic hall or something, and then we can split this into an A/B signal path. I'm going to go with a shimmer, and I can load in a parametric. So this was my typical kind of signal chain for like the Stomp XL. And as you can see, as I'm clicking through the blocks, I have a lot of choices as to what I can change the effects block out to. This is telling me that I'm severely underutilizing the DSP chip on the Stomp XL if I can afford to change out effects with that many choices. So to sum up, HX Stomp is just being taxed too much, but the Stomp XL is being underutilized. It's led to this inefficient DSP usage. Let's clear it all, have a clean slate, and I'll show you what I'm doing to maximize DSP from these two devices. We start again with the poly cable, that's fine, but we're not going to use amps on this line. We're going to be using a combination of dry effects on the Stomp. So remembering that we want to have a stereo effects loop so that we can patch in the Stomp XL, and then I will have the parametric EQ here for final tone shaping, and maybe a lighter DSP reverb to gel the elements together. Let's see what I have. I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 blocks left, which leads me to these possibilities. I can put a Minotaur, I can put in the Tima, I can put in a compressor, and I can put in the dual pitch. On the Stomp XL, we're going to go with a dual amps, dual cap situation. So let's start with that. Let's go with your AC30. Let's go with the Fender Pro Sonic-ish sort of sound. Split it. Let's go with a dual cab. And now that we've settled amps and cabs, let's try and put in delays and reverbs. And for delays, reverbs, we don't want to skimp. We can go with the ones that we really like. 1, 2, I'm left with 3 choices left. I'm gonna go with a chorus and move this up. 2 left, what can I do? I can do a trend, my favorite, and I'm left with not much else. So here you need to make some choices. Do I want to go with 2 reverbs in a signal path like this? Maybe I don't have to. I can cut this out because I do have a Strymon Big Sky MX wired after the Stomp XL, so I don't really need a reverb block here. Then I could go for something like the retro reel to give me my wow and flutter. I can put that saturation, really cool. Maybe I'll go with something less intensive. If I change to a mono chorus, I'll have the DSP for a second delay. So now you potentially have your dotted eighth and quarter note delays with choice of tremolo, chorus, and retro reel. Let me load out the presets that I've created, and then we'll see how they sound in context. So this is the final layout of my double HX Stomp pedal board. This is the raw sound without most of the effects. This controls the pitch. This controls the overdrive. The way that I'm going to control the pitch with the polycable is to use snapshots. And so I've got the foot switches right over there, the FS4, FS5 foot switches. I got them configured to toggle up or down snapshots. So this is going to be my snapshot 2 is my -1 semitone. And snapshot 3 is my -2 semitones. You never know, just in case where your lead singer wants to do Glorious Day, but he can't hit that key and he can go to -2 semitones to play in C. I think this is a pretty good distribution of DSP on this first stomp. In the second stomp, this is where we've got your amps and you've got the rest of the effects. I could put in my effects like a trem. I could put in my dimension. And then for the vibe sound, I can do this. Were these correct? Do you have to rearrange the tuners?
Correct. Is that illusion by correct? Is that how it's shot? Correct.
Illusion.
It looks like not right by correct.
Oh, sorry. Okay. What I'm about to show you is probably the biggest reason why a double HX Stomp setup works on a pedal board instead of just relying everything on a helix. I've turned my helix on. Do you see what's the problem? Nothing is lighting up. Scribble scripts are gone. Nothing's responding. The switches and the knobs, nothing works anymore. If this happened during a show, I can't use this at all. This is completely dead. Whereas on something like this, if one of these devices go down, I can always call up an all-in-one preset from the other device, rip it out, power it up still from the board, but you're able to save the gig. You can still play with one device, and it's just an extra layer of security. It's very unlikely that both devices will go down at the same time. So yes, now I am down one Helix, and this has now become one giant desktop device. I'm wondering whether I should just replace it with the Stadium when it comes out. So Yamaha, if you can throw me a lifeline. So that's how I've been maximizing my double stomp setup. Less clutter, more tone. If you've been overcomplicating your rig, try this first before buying more pedals. If you found value here, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell icon to grow the channel. But now, I want to hear from you. If you had just one extra pedal to add to this board, what would it be? Drop it in the comments and maybe I'll demo the most popular choice integrated into this rig in a future video. Thank you, and I'll see you in this video where you can hear this board in action at a live night of worship.